the days following the ban, 7:30 spoke to Steve Meerwald, the head of the livestock transport company Wellard. He joined me again earlier. Steve Meerwald, welcome to 7:30.
Thank you.
Now, how far away is the full resumption of the live trade?
It's still several months and it will come about at the same time as livestock numbers really drop off in the north. So we'll fall into a normal pattern at a time when the trade is actually going into a bit of a lull.
Now, the last time we spoke, you were speculating about just to what extent this ban would be a crisis for you. How have you managed it over this period?
With some difficulty. We've been able to reprogram vessels and operate into different markets. So the Philippines, Egypt, we've got a vessel working in the States, and we've also been dealing into the Middle East. So we've had to shuffle significantly. It's had a significant impact on our business and our programs and planning.
Can you put a figure on that?
Our latest view of the world in terms of real dollar cost to our business is about $5 million.
Right. So what's actually changed in Indonesia in that time?
Over the last 2 months, we've been working with, basically from the day the ban was announced, we put together a set of bullet points that we thought would be necessary to achieve comfort that good animal handling and animal welfare practices could be guaranteed from the continuation of the voyage, so from the point of discharge through to the point of slaughter. Now we have contracts in place with 4 of our importers in Indonesia, and we have further contracts being put in place that require them to meet the agreed standards that the Australian industry and government have put together over the last several weeks, several months.
So is this the crisis that your industry had to have?
If you put it that way, I couldn't really argue with you. We would prefer not to have a big stick approach with clients. We're trying to work with them, and we've achieved enormous amounts over the last 20 years in all the markets, and it's really gratifying to see that degree of change in culture coming about because of work that the Australian industry and Australian exporters are doing in market. In saying that, this very significant one-off event has been able to advance that cause in Indonesia by many, many years.
Now, I just wanted to ask you about meat and livestock, because obviously your company has taken a big financial hit, $5 million, and yet there doesn't seem to be huge changes or bloodletting at meat and livestock.
Yeah, Meat and Livestock Australia have been a bit of a scapegoat in all of this. It's easy to kick the program managers, and that's what they are. They're the service delivery organisation for the industry. So for the producers, for the exporters, and effectively for the Australian government, because some of the programs are also government funded. But they have been very transparent. They have provided a significant number of reports back to the industry and to the government about the challenges that they're facing, not only in Indonesia but in other markets. Maybe people haven't chosen to read those reports.
But wasn't it Meat and Livestock's responsibility, with all the money that was coming from pastoralists, to ensure that this never happened?
In every market that you go to, particularly in developing countries, to say that we're going to take you from what you've done for the last several hundred years or 1,000 years to what we expect with our standards is not a journey you can have happen overnight.
So just to clarify though, you're saying they were transparent. Does that mean that Meat and Livestock was saying to people, there is animal cruelty going on, there is torture, and we're passing it on, and it was that the people who accepted those reports did nothing about it?
No, I think what their reports will have identified is poor education, poor training and complacency in facilities, and then their process of education and integration working with different processes. Remembering they can't also be across the several hundred facilities that would at some stage be processing Australian cattle.
Do you think that the public will be confident moving forward that actually this industry has recognised the extent to which things were going bad in Indonesia if there are no changes made from the group that's actually meant to oversee, the practices in that country?
The MLA, in their role as service providers, have got people on the ground that are working through this all the time. The contractual obligations we have with our importers are onerous, and the contracts that they have with the abattoirs are onerous.
So they're aware of the
They
consequences?
are absolutely aware of the consequences.
Okay, so to sum up, there's been enough changes in Indonesia that you're confident and the Australian public can be confident that our animals will be treated properly?
Absolutely.
Okay, Steve, thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.